What is going on, guys? Drag here. I'm here with Andy.
What's up, guys? Son Jaren.
This is gonna be the inaugural episode of. I haven't really picked a name for it yet, but it is going to be like a little DBS talk show. Um, Anyone who played Pansy knows about like the brewcast that DDA and them do. It's kind of gonna be like that, only without the alcohol most of the time. But anyway, today we have a simple topic. We're not going to be on long. It's just a little kind of teaser episode. Right now, we're going to talk about the news we got this morning, which are the 4 new draft leaders. And
So,
they're pretty freaking sweet.
we have Khalifa for red, which I'm super excited about. I hope she kind of has some kind of tutoring ability that lets you search out your veggie package or anything like that, especially since I would definitely play that green-red.
That would be so
Um,
broken.
Blue, we have yet another Goku leader.
At least this one's cool,
Uh,
though.
it really does look cool. Green, I believe is Hercule.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about my disappointment in that card in a few minutes.
And then yellow, we have Bardock. And I'm actually really happy to see that my man Bardock is getting a little bit more love
Serious freaking love
in this
getting
game.
set.
Especially since my personal favorite deck in the current meta is Mass Saiyan.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But no, I'm super excited about Khalifa. Like, I feel like that's probably going to be the draft leader that I gravitate to or towards as a secondary deck in the meta. Especially depending on what she does. Like, if she can be a really hard counter to Mecha, then by all means I'm going to play it, because as we all know, Mecha is like the biggest problem of the format.
Yeah, it's pretty much going to be anyone is going to gravitate to anything that counters Mecha right now, because that's just how it's going to work. And that's another thing. We didn't get the rumored hit on Mecha last night, which is slightly depressing, but at the same time, I'm not really happy with how it was rumored to go down anyway, because I'm not a big fan of killing cards. I'm a big fan of balancing them. So, yeah.
I mean, personally, like, not to really turn this into a Mecha discussion video, but personally, I feel like Mecha would be a lot more manageable if Mecha were more of a control leader, where instead of having Mecha's effect being on their turn and being able to awaken themselves turn one, make it to where it's once per turn during your opponent's turn. Reduce the energy cost of an extra card in your hand by one on the unawakened side, and then two, it being by two. I feel like the leader would be a lot more balanced, and on top of that, it'll be a lot easier to play against, especially because they're not basically playing Cold Bloodlust on you for free when you go to like Topo, or them bad ring lasering your Topo on their turn. And I think that's the biggest reason, and I think that's the biggest problem, is not even so much like Mecha itself, but it's Mecha's mechanics, because Mecha's mechanics literally break the rules of the game, and I am completely against that.
Well, anyway, let's
But
not
enough
get
about
into
Mecha.
that right now. Okay, so right now, what I'm gonna do, or what we're gonna talk about right now, is we're gonna kind of like try to predict the effects of the draft leaders right now, because we're not gonna get the effects until next week, and we're gonna make another video and see if we were right, compare, and you know what what we like and dislike about it. But for right now, let's just go ahead and start off with we'll just go down the line. We'll start off with Khalifa. Um, oh, what do you think her effect's gonna be, Andy? Like, what do you think it's actually going to be? Not just what you want it to be, what you think it's gonna be.
So kind of just to take a look at the more dominant, uh, red leaders from sets 1 through 3. Well, maybe not 3, but sets 1 through 2, especially the original draft box. With Champa, you had discard a card from your hand to target one battle card on your field and give it double strike, or um, you know, uh, the Goku, the red Goku leader from set 2, even though it wasn't very prominent in the meta, even during the regional season, which, I mean, it's a really underrated leader in my opinion, but that's beside the point. His leader skill was you discard a card, this card gains plus 5k power for the duration of the turn, or the duration of the battle. One of the two. Basically, you're ditching a card for it to be a Senzu Bean, just minus the untapping. As far as what I think Khalifa will do, or what they'll have Khalifa do, is Khalifa will probably have an effect where discard a card from your hand. If you do, or discard a card from your hand, and then search your deck up to, or for up to, or no, sorry. Search your deck for up to one Saiyan Kaba or Kale with 15,000 or less power, and add it to your hand. Then shuffle your deck. If you do, this card gains plus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn.
So, what you're thinking? We're gonna get like some more Kale support in the Tournament of Power than just.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, especially since when the Tournament of Power micro set was or expansion, whatever you want to call it, I call it a micro set because it's not a full set. When they announced that it was coming out, they did say that Universe 6 was going to be in it, and they said that Universe 6 was going to be red. And then with Universe 11, Jiren and the Pride War and the Pride Troopers, they're going to be yellow. That being said, they have also kind of teased at new Kale and Khalifa cards in the new in the Tournament of Power set. If you check out the discussion groups or anything like that on Facebook, you probably would have seen what I'm talking about. They kind of released the art for some of the cards that are coming out in the new micro expansion, and there was a Khalifa, if I'm not mistaken, and I believe there was a Kale.
Yeah, there was another Kale. We don't really know like anything about him or anything, so we don't know if it's gonna be like OP card or if it's gonna be like.
Yeah, we don't really know what's like anything about it, but my thought process is they're gonna try and like with how good the salad mix package is, or the veggie package, whatever you guys are calling it, with how good that package is, I honestly think that Bandai's gonna try and push that package as much as they can, and that's why in a lot of some of the bigger tournaments you've seen mecha veggies and different variants of the salad package with different leaders. I think Bandai's realizing that that whole engine is just too good not to play, especially with Kale already being a strong card in green. I mean, and the fact that even after set 3 came out, Kale is still a $30 card.
Yeah.
But that being said, I honestly feel like that Khalifa is going to have some kind of tutoring ability and some kind of aggressive bolster or buff after using the effect. What do you think, Drag?
Honestly, I think that's kind of right. I'm honestly seeing sort of like a Mecha or a Majin Vegeta Part 2 sort of deal. Whereas like it's like you said, it's a discard effect, just like most of the other red leaders. And yeah, honestly, I think it might be a search because that if we really pay attention, the only card that we have for a search for that mix right now is the 2-drop Kaba, and it's still a rather expensive card, especially being like a dash pack promo.
I mean, it's a like a $14-15 card. It's not terribly expensive, but it's also not like it's not in a budget player's. It's not going to be in a budget player's deck.
Yeah, and honestly, what I think Bandai needs to do is they need to appeal more to the budget players. But I mean, obviously, keep the money cards, for the good, like people that are actually invested in the game, obviously. But I think that they need to make it to where like dash pack promos aren't like necessities for certain packages like that. But also at the same time, it's just a really good freaking package. So, um, yeah, honestly, we just gotta wait for the next week to see that one. But let's go on to the next one. The new Goku is a blue leader. It starts out as Super Saiyan and goes into Kaioken Blue. So that's something we haven't really seen until set 3 is the Kaioken Blue Goku.
Yeah.
Which
And it was also and the Kaioken Goku, I mean that was a tournament pack promo.
yeah, it was.
I think as far as the Kaioken Goku, I think it might have a similar effect to Set 1 Vegeta.
Not.
Where you life break and you get some kind of keyword, or you get like a cool keyword skill added to your leader for the duration of the turn. Whether or not it be double strike or crit, it's completely speculation. But I feel like with the way the blue leaders have been going, in the last few sets, it's more than likely how that's going to go. Especially with the Goku in the last draft box. His auto or his activate main skill was take a life and it gets double strike. It was basically kind of the opposite of Vegeta. I think that they were trying to go for more of an aggressive counter to Mecha in that respect. But personally, I think that they kind of went the wrong way about, not even so much the wrong way about designing it, but I think that they could have designed the card to be a little bit better, especially when the first draft box came out. You had, between those two, like between that leader, you had a better option to play over that Goku, and it was Vegeta, because it was literally, you look at both leaders and you're like, okay, which one's gonna win more games? Vegeta. Because Mecha can't handle the just the relentless onslaught of Vegeta. Because Vegeta doesn't run out of steam.
It's pretty much the same thing with Mass Saiyan. That's why
Exactly.
So
well,
right now.
Actually, Mass Saiyan's a little different because with Mass Saiyan, you really have to like manage your cards better, or you like really have to have really good card management, which is why I think if you're coming over to this game from Yu-Gi-Oh, I feel like if you were a Lightsworn player, this deck is perfect for you because you already know how to manage your cards to make it to where you won't deck out. But just being able to get that crit off of a mill is just too good.
Yeah. And it sacrifices the life break, but also that could be a good thing because you're not double-edged sorting yourself in hell. So
in that deck, it's a good thing and a bad thing because you do need to be able to awaken quickly. Whether it's letting your opponent awaken you or just you awakening yourself. That's why a lot of builds are that's why a lot of decks even now are still running Saiyan Kaba, because even though it's, everybody knows how to play around that card, it's still a valuable tool for self-awakening.
yeah.
But I think that that's one of the things that I feel like Mass Saiyan is severely lacking, is just methods of self-awakening, because the only cards that you really run in the deck to self-awaken yourself are Increasing Evil Mass Saiyan as well as Saiyan Kaba. Those are the only two cards you run to self-awaken yourself. And I've thought about trying Results of Training, but the problem is that the format's too fast to try to play Results.
Yeah.
But back to the topic at hand, I feel like this Goku is probably going to be a Vegeta, except I think it's going to have a similar drawback to what Kaioken had, as far as the lore goes. I feel like it'll probably be inflict 2 damage to your life if you do. This card gets critical for the duration of the turn, plus 5k power boost. Nothing but that's Awakened side though. That's the Awakened side. Unawakened would be like you take 1 life, this card gets critical.
I don't know. I don't see them really copying the Vegeta effect. And I definitely don't see them doing that awakened thing. That would.
Unless it was
almost unplayable at that point.
Not necessarily, because you also have to think, like, with the way that the the metagame is going right now, and these draft leaders come out, essentially it's asking it's Bandai saying, "Hey, here's a way to beat Mecha."
I mean, not to mention the fact that they pretty much already they gave us like 2 specific deck lists to kill Mecha Frieza. Well, G3
Yeah,
I guess,
but regardless, I mean that's just my personal opinion. I mean, and to be fair, like that's kind of going based off of the last draft box on how those leaders were kind of were kind of like developed. Um, but I mean that's just my personal opinion.
I don't know. I think you might be right about the life break thing, but I don't know if it's gonna be like giving it like crit or something. Um, Honestly, what I think it's gonna be is I think it's gonna be life break 1, give like 10,000 power to a battle card on the field or something. Because honestly, that's something we haven't really seen much of, is like leaders that actually boost like battle cards. So I feel like it's something they might actually try to do.
So remember back in set 1 we were talking about how we wanted an extra card that gave battle
Critical.
cards critical.
Yeah.
So what if Goku's effect was you take a life, target 1 battle card on your field, that card gains critical for the duration of the turn.
That would be pretty cool actually, and I kind of want that to happen now.
Well, because if you actually sit down and think about it, like, but actually, instead of it being a battle card, it's more like Champa leader.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it's any card. So you could give your leader crit. Not to mention
that could be awesome.
And then just have both effects like on the same side, like on both, or the same effect on both sides, just like how they have been doing on the draft box leaders.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, if you think about it, like it would actually be a better Champa, and on top of that, you know, it kind of promotes being able to push early threats. You know, because you're sitting, you're turn 2, you're about to swing in for your first swing. You play like a Bundle of Curiosity or something like that. Goku effect, take the life, give Bundle critical, swing in. That's 10k crit, and 9 times out of 10, players are gonna take that 1 damage.
Maybe.
But I mean, that was kind of like my thought. Like the thought just kind of came to my head when you were talking about how, talking about giving battle cards crit, because I was like, wait a minute, we wanted an extra card that did that.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's actually a better option for the new Goku leader, because again, it gives battle cards crit, or it'll give any card that can attack in your battle area or leader area crit. Plus, it's also an efficient way to self-awaken, because it wouldn't be a once per turn effect because of Champa, or because it'd be like Champa.
And that's where I'm gonna stop you, because that is the problem we have with Mecha Frieza right now, is the fact that
not necessarily though, because you're not. Think about it. Okay, so maybe like up to twice per turn.
I don't know. I still think once per turn would be plenty. Like it would actually promote it. It would promote that leader. It would be something Blue has besides Vegeta and Trunks that would stand a chance right now, even at once per turn. And honestly, with the fact that we're thinking Mecha might get hit soon, even if it doesn't, I still think it'll be a top contender against Mecha, because pretty much the way to beat Mecha is really crit right now. And that's probably
crit or rush, honestly.
Well, that both. It'd be like having a slightly faster Vegeta leader.
Which I'd actually be totally fine with, because like, okay, Okay, so hear me out on this at least. You take the life, it gives all cards in your leader and battle area critical for the duration of the turn.
That's too.
But broke. You would make it once per turn.
That's still too broke, though.
I mean, it is, but it isn't though, because honestly, it's kind of balanced though, because it's not like it's a permanent effect.
Yes and no, though, but like.
But you also have to understand, even if Mecha doesn't get hit, I feel like people are probably will play that leader over some of the other draft box leaders because of that effect. Because oh hey, I can take a life, give all my guys critical, and then just swing in for crits.
I don't know. That just seems like it'd be too OP because like
It really isn't though, because if you honestly sit down and think about it, even if they worded it to where, or worded the leader skill to where the card from your life doesn't go to your hand. Like if they made it like Rapid Onslaught, where instead of it going to your hand, it goes to your drop.
Yeah,
like I would be okay with that.
It would have to go to drop that gives everybody crit. Like,
which is fine. That's not an issue, because even though you're not getting that card to your hand, you still have pressure because all of your battle cards have crit.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Anyway,
And that's one of the biggest things that you need in this meta is pressure, because you need to be able to pressure your opponent into not really being able to do much.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the next one. We've been talking about this one for a good like 10 minutes, I think. So, anyway, this Hercule. I'm gonna express my issue with Bandai right now. Why does Hercule have Super Saiyan hair?
Honestly, I think he's gonna have some kind of Majin Buu tutoring.
Probably. I could see him being like you know how like Buu kind of has like a leader for each color so far, except for yellow and
blue.
Blue.
Or I mean yellow and red or green.
Because he's got Bobbity for red, and now he's got himself for blue. So
yeah.
Hercule will be the green one, and then there's gonna be like one yellow one somewhere down the line. It's like gonna be the Fit Buu or something.
Which Super Fit Buu I would be totally okay with.
Same.
But it has to be the Super Fit Buu. It can't be any of the other ones.
Can't be anything else. No.
But personally, I feel like he's gonna be able to like tutor out like Unawakened. He'll probably be able to tutor out like a Buu with 10k or less.
Maybe.
And then Awakened, he could probably tutor out like 20k or less.
I don't know. I think if anything.
But you'd have to have some kind of call, like you'd have to like blow up a battle card on your field or something.
I don't know. I feel like if anything, it would be like a Dr. Mew thing, kind of.
Yeah, actually, I would agree with that.
Where like a free 5k per turn, and then like
like a free 5k Majin Buu per turn,
like a free 10k
and then
Awakened.
Yeah, exactly.
But then
like
that doesn't seem right because of just taking from the artwork thing. Maybe it would be the Awakened side would be like summon something like 10k or above and give it like 5 plus 5k.
Or if your opponent controls a battle card and you don't, you can play a Majin Buu with 5k or less from your hand for without paying its energy cost.
So basically make Majin Buus like Cyber Dragons from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, exactly. Like make a Majin Buu Cyber Dragon. Or even make it to where like all of your Majin Buu, or even give it like a Vegito like leader, or a Vegito like skill or permanent skill, where all Majin Buus in all of your areas gain or are treated as red, green, and blue.
That would be busted, actually.
It wouldn't. It really wouldn't though, because like.
It would though, because think of the 5-drop from set 2. He needs to evolve on a red, but it's like a 2-drop.
Right, but I mean, you also Union Absorb with that 5-drop though.
Yeah, but think of it this way, dude. You freaking you summon your blue Buu first turn. Like this was my issue with Bobbity, is because there wasn't enough Majin Buus for that 5. If you make everything like a red Buu, literally summon out the freaking level 1 Buu, turn 2 evolve into that one, you've got a turn 2 7-drop Buuhan.
I mean, yeah, and that's kind of the issue. Well, I mean, that's kind of the issue with GT Turbo, I suppose, but I mean, it would obviously have to be a bit more balanced, like or make it to where like your energy, if you have Majin Buu in your energy is treated as red, blue, or red, blue, or green. Assuming that we have green Majin Buu support.
Which we probably will get next set, next full set, I should say.
Yeah. But basically, like, your Majin Buus in your energy are treated, or in your energy in hand are treated as red, blue, and green. And then if you were to play a Majin Buu from your hand with 5k or less, you can bring this card out without paying its energy cost.
Maybe.
Because, I mean, if you honestly sit down and think about it, say you're your turn player and your opponent controls a battle card and you don't, you can play the energy boosted Buu for free.
Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, let's move on to
I mean, I like the Cyber Dragon idea though, because like I feel like that would be like that would actually help the whole Majin Buu archetype see a bit more play, especially if you have the energy treated as red, blue, and green. It might actually help promote the Majin Buu archetype to get played more, especially since it's a great archetype.
It really is. But anyway.
All right, moving on to Bardock.
Yeah, last Bardock yellow.
The second leader I'm super excited for.
Yeah, I'm actually really I like the fact that they're basically making all like the great apes and shit like yellow, because I don't know. I feel like yellow needed more diversity than just Frieza's army shit. So
I feel like he might be able. I feel like because if Mecha does get hit, I feel like he's gonna be the replacement for apes.
maybe, probably.
This might be a little broken, but I feel like it should be if you have Tora, Shugesh, Fasha, and Borgos in your drop area, you can awaken this card even if your life is above 4.
No.
Well, but I mean, his unawakened skill or his unawakened auto skill would be one of those when this card attacks a leader, draw a card, and then when he awakens, you restand 2 energy.
I don't know. I really hate that whole mechanic.
I don't like the mechanic either, but in all honesty, like the mechanic actually isn't that terrible.
It's not, and don't get me wrong. I honestly, with my prediction, I think he should have it too. But what I think he should honestly have is I think he should just make apes 1 cost less on Awakened. And 2 cost less on.
See, I could see that with a king, like if it were like a King Vegeta leader, but the problem is that even basing it off the anime lore, Bardock didn't really have much hearsay in the Saiyan army.
No, but he did have hearsay in his crew, and if you think about it, those are really the only apes we have besides King Vegeta and Prince Vegeta.
And Prince Vegeta.
Yeah, I said Prince Vegeta.
I didn't hear you. I mean, as far as like an awakened skill, because I haven't really touched on that. First and foremost, though, unawakened, I feel like he should have the ability to tutor out Planet Vegeta. Now, hear me out, because set 2 leaders were able to search out a field card, when they hit the leader zone.
Yeah, but Planet Vegeta is a lot different than those guys.
But here's where it kind of gets different than set 2. You have to discard a Tora, Shugesh, Fasha, or Borgos from your hand in order to search it.
I don't know, maybe.
Because, well, if you think about it, it's cost specific, so that means that you have to discard a member of Bardock's crew in order to search out Planet Vegeta.
I don't know. I think it would be fine with just like discard a card, because then it's like you're not really plussing or minusing from getting the free play.
Well, and that's kind of, but that's kind of where I'm like, where my line of thinking also is. But if it's a member of Bardock's crew, it'll fuel your drop to be able to awaken early.
I don't know. That's something I don't really like too much. Like you know my opinion on results. I didn't really play it unless I like.
I mean,
The only reason I played it in Soul Striker is
but
because you needed it at that point.
yeah, well, and it's not even like, having all four of them is an awakening cost. It's more of a, hey, if you have them in your drop, you can awaken if you want. Otherwise, you can just keep playing the game however you want to. But I actually like the idea of having, like, one of the biggest mechanics that I actually really liked in the game when the game first came out was Awakening Rage Son Goku. Because it was super, like, faithful to the anime lore. Because his auto skill was literally, if Krillin is in your drop area, this card gains triple strike. So, like, I like things like that because it stays true to the anime. Because if you really sit down and think about it, in uh, Bardock's crew getting wiped out was one of the biggest things that pushed him to go Super Saiyan.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I would see that if it was like a Super Saiyan awakening, but it's grade 8 form.
Yeah. But I mean, personally, like, I like that idea of a mechanic, though. Like, to have, because I mean, it almost is kind of like the whole Ginyu Force thing, where, like, you know, if you have, like with Ginyu, like, if you have members of the Ginyu Force on your board, they gain double strike and plus 5k
Yeah,
for
like
the duration
I
of the
could see
turn.
something like that, like maybe he like buffs his crew, like,
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd be okay with that. I mean, I kind of like mine.
and I'm not saying it's not like a solid idea or anything. I honestly don't think that's the direction they would go just yet.
Yeah.
But either way, we are running way out of time. So unfortunately, we gotta sign this one off for right now. Um, thank you guys for watching. Thanks Andy for joining in.
Of course.
We're gonna hear from him more probably. He's gonna be on here a lot. So but anyway, thanks guys. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, like, favorite, all that traditional YouTube jazz shite. And well, hope to see you guys next time.
Exclamation point swear.
See you later, guys.